the weekend again. Sit back, relax, we got the brain of band. No need to stress in the house, it's Van Bellen. The game is windsurfing, you can't yell them or tell them. We get the news, the views, the win biz. The brand's gear, just plus the world's best quiz. The Cubs, PWA. We're professionals without the pay. There's nothing in pole dancing that we won't chat. From tandem boards to a windsurfing cat. It's your one-stop shop for a laugh and listen. Tune in each week or you'll be doing the missing.
Hey, we're back again.
Good morning, back again for another podcast. And because the last podcast went so well with lots of people, we are going to do the same thing again today. So obviously, if you've seen the title, I don't know if you could work out exactly what is going on in this podcast today, but we have basically got a crazy good at the moment, I think, British wave sailing scene. You know, and to make those things happen, you need event organizers, you need events, you need, competitors turning up. We've obviously been speaking to Mr. Paul Van Bellen about his wave rally and organizing events. So what we have got today is we have got one of probably the most successful events the last couple of years in the British Isles, which has been a roaming event in Cornwall, the Cornish Cold Water Classic. And we've got the men behind it who've took it on themselves to kind of bring that Cornish event back. They've done a great job. Like I said, it's been such a success with these rollover dates. So we're going to bring them in. We're going to talk to them, see the background. We're going to be talking about what it takes to put on an event, and all the little bits of details and just a general chat about what is going on in the UK. Paul has never met these guys. He doesn't really know the background, so he's coming along for the ride. But being an event organizer, I'm sure he's going to have some interesting questions, and I think it'll be a good chat.
It will be. I'm very much looking forward to this, Benny. So thank you for getting this one done. All right. So without further ado,
If you've got any comments, obviously hit them up. We will do our best to bring in the live comments because obviously this is live. So if you have any comments as we go, we'll try and pull them up on screen and answer them as we go. But let's bring them in. 4 young fellas coming in hot. Who have we got?
All right. We bring him. I'll bring him in. First of all, we have Alex Rhodes onto the stage. Welcome to the podcast, Alex. And we have Inferno Joe Verno onto the stage. Welcome. That's a great name. Best name we've had on the podcast. Then we have Mike. I have to be careful with this one. Cunliffe.
Very much.
And finally to the stage is Ben Harbour, all from the Cornish Cold Water Classic event. So welcome, guys.
Thanks.
Morning.
Thanks
all right, guys.
Morning.
We've got to put the rules out there, which we did last time. With 6 guys in a podcast, there is going to be slight delays in, so we have to be really careful when we're talking. Just that's all. Because sometimes, like we said last week, it's like, when you have these old phone calls to Australia or something, and you try to chat with your parents, and there's that delay, but it should be good. I think we've all got good internet these days. But welcome to the podcast. I think we've got to start with where are we going to start? Firstly, you 4 guys, we set the scene. You 4 guys are the main organizers for the Cornish Cold Water Classic. You're obviously all keen windsurfers. Give us a bit of windsurfing background from all of you, just to get people to understand where it's coming from, where the passion, where the what's your windsurfing backgrounds.
Shall I start?
Big one. Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it,
So Ben and I met when we were very little, and then when windsurfing started, we happened to go to the same university by accident, and then we started windsurfing together. We joined the uni windsurfing club. This was a long time ago for the younger members, and I've been windsurfing ever since. Basically, we spent a couple of years in Cape Town together, working and windsurfed there, and then we ended up in Cornwall. Ben's from Cornwall, and I've just relocated here about 30 years ago. So it's been a passion for life, basically, and one of the things that's kept Ben and my friendship together. So that's where our windsurfing's come from.
Yeah, cool, man. Just give us some ages. I know, like, women don't talk about ages, but men can talk about ages. And what's the age of you boys?
We're 58, apart from Joe.
Okay.
59 in about 3 weeks, all of us. So,
59
we're on the door of the big number next year.
Oh, that's cool. What age was Alex? Well, Alex, what age were you when you met Ben?
6. But so that was pre-windsurfing being invented. And then we sort of got to know each other properly when we were about sort of 23, 21, university onwards, really.
And sorry, Joe, you were about to tell us your age, were you?
Yeah, I'm 23.
Yeah. Oh, 43, yeah, right.
I'm 44, sadly. 44.
Oh,
no.
Generation X. Did you scrape?
They could give me as a youthful one, but I'm not actually that youthful anymore.
And interestingly, so Joe, Mike lives in Cornwall as well, and is a big surfer. And then loved his windsurfing. Used to learn it in Brighton, and then we were all sort of windsurfing. But then I got into kite surfing. I'm allowed to say that on this channel. And then Ben went back to Cape Town to work, and then Joe pops up because he'd come back to Cornwall, born and bred for Cornwall, but he'd been away, and was windsurfing pretty well considering he'd just come into windsurfing.
I mean, I basically grew up surfing all my life. I'm born and bred in a dairy farm in Cornwall on the coast, and we've got pretty good surf break on the farm. So I was surfing the whole time. Then I was in the army, and I moved away and was I dabbled a bit in windsurfing because there was a guy from Cornwall who was also a surfer, and he was like, "Look, you're just going to have to try this because it's the only way to get on the water when around Kent, Chatham in Kent and places like that." So I had a little dabble, and then I came back to Cornwall in 2012 and was seriously disappointed in the number of surfers in the water. So I think I had like an epiphany moment. I went down to, it used to be a secret break, but not anymore. It's on the Stormberry Guide. I went down to a Lundy Bay, which used to be a secret break, on like a wet January Monday at lunchtime. And I think there was like 45 guys on the water, and it's pretty much a single peak, maybe double peak. And I spent 2.5 hours on the water. I was walking home, and I was thinking, I reckon I spent 14 seconds surfing.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is not a sustainable sport. It just was so rammed. I think, to be honest, now it has calmed down. And then it just so happened, like about a week or so later, I was walking between Poleseth and Damer, and there was some windsurfers out windsurfing on the Doom Bar, and I was like watching them, and it looked massive, and I was like, that looks so cool. I've got to have a go at this. I've got to get back into this. So I just basically bought some kit and went down to Damer and started teaching myself in my 30s, and then met these guys in the car park, and we kind of I guess I was allowed into the WhatsApp group.
I've got a big Joe up a lot, actually, because we're all 60 next year, and to have a little 40-year-old pup in the group has given us all a lot of energy and gets us going when perhaps we might have decided not to. So fair play. To have a little group like ours has been amazing for all of us, and it is. We're like any group all around the world. I mean, Paul, you're probably in a WhatsApp group or 3 or 4 WhatsApp groups in Australia, and it gives us all a bit of hype when the weather's rough and everybody else is miserable, and it just keeps us going. So
definitely. It's all about community, isn't it? Building a community.
I think one of the things about Cornwall is because we're a peninsula, there's a huge variety. It's always cross off somewhere, firstly. So you kind of need to tap into a bit of local knowledge and the community, and we're, as a group of Cornish windsurfers, are spread across the county, but we're all finding out where is it good. Is it the south coast? Is it going down west down to Gwithian, or is it Damer, or is it further up north? So that is also part of the community thing, is especially Cornwall, is you need to be connected to these people to find out where the best place is to go, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it's motivating, isn't it? I always say that here, like with the WhatsApp group, there's always one keen bean. I'm guessing it's Joe on yours, but then everyone has their moments. But you need the crazy keen one to motivate you. It's like going to the gym. I've said it before, where someone goes, come on, we got you. They push you past where you're like, oh, I don't know if I can be bothered. And then you go, you're always happier. You always feel better. And you're like, oh, you needed that guy, that guy who's like the never give up.
Joe pulled us back. Joe, I mean, Ben was right. You know, we were getting scared going out Grenaway. You know, it's sort of a rock cliff kind of wave, and you know, you wouldn't want to do it on your own. And then Joe would go out when it was completely onshore there, and we would be going like, this guy's mad. And but it sort of drew us back into the bigger waves where we would probably were retreating from them if we were honest about it. And it's been really good. And as you say, you know, there's 3 or 4 people who are super keen. Our mate Alan Spud, he is the keenest, but never competes. But you know, he's always leading the charge around the county. You know, for the wave sailing. And Joe pulled us, has kept us going. So big up, Joe.
And I signed up then to your to apply for Send It Academy, or got an email, and I just forwarded it around the group and said, anyone fancy going to Cape Town? And they all literally replied straight away, like, yeah. So I was like, oh shit, I guess we're going to Cape Town.
We're going.
I've got to tell my wife.
No, but that was cool. Obviously, for people who don't know, all 4 guys came on the coaching clinic in Cape Town, which is how many years ago now?
3
3 years ago.
Yeah.
3 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. Which like is so cool when you get a group of guys, because they already know each other, they already know the levels and stuff. So yeah, it was pretty fun. How do you enjoy Cape Town? Because obviously you've been in Cape Town before. You were saying earlier, Alex and Ben, and you spent time there.
Yeah, it was great. It was an amazing trip, you know, and we had wind. We had lots of different good conditions. And I didn't break my foot until the second to last day. So that was really good as well. And I still sailed on the last day. And I still had to carry all my gear through the airport. They didn't help me.
2 days later,
the X-ray did reveal a small break in one of my metatarsals. So thanks for that, guys. I think I used duct tape to sail Platboom.
That was a good day, though.
It was a good day, and it was worth going in.
How many sailors have you got in this WhatsApp group?
I think about 30, I think, is it?
Okay.
About 30.
And it's all related to around Caldwell?
Yeah, the key is to have people.
There's a few blow-ins.
Yeah. Because I'm actually, just for anybody out there who's not so familiar with that part of the world, and I actually have been to Cornwall once before, but where exactly are you guys? You know, I've got a map up here for anyone listening on the Spotify or whatever, but yeah.
Paul's there halfway along the top on the north coast.
Right at the top of your map.
Yeah, right on the point sticking out.
Yeah.
Yeah, top of the map.
Padstow. See where Padstow is.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yep.
That's where we live.
Oh, okay.
So the interesting. So Paul, the interesting thing is, you see, with the shape of Cornwall, we just become down the line cross off hounds, so we can't sail any other way. So it is you can get beaches on any conditions where we go cross off. So we just get a little bit sort of one-eyed in that respect, and a little bit lazy on other conditions, as Ben found out when we tried to do onshore over in Cape Town, or when we're sailing at Ross Niger or whatever. But yeah, Cornwall always offers something that's going to give you cross off somewhere around the coast.
Okay. And is there like a particular season that's best to go? You know, if anyone was traveling there or wants to go there, you know, is there a time of the year it's best, or?
October, November, and December have traditionally been pretty good and windy. Well, the last few years they have, been amazing. And the water's very warm.
Yeah. And whereabouts do you hold the comp?
We're down west. If you go down to Hale, which is just before on the north coast, around about there. Yeah. And that whole stretch of like coast there.
Keep zooming in there.
You see, you've got a lot of different options. It sort of bends round, so you can kind of choose your wind direction. It does get a bit gusty when it's sort of cross off.
So if anyone's just seen like the recent, because we've just put the video from the recent competition on YouTube on Windsurfing TV. So there's a couple of spots all along that coast. So I think did you sail Mexico's, which is kind of in the middle.
In the middle
in the middle of that kind of bay. No, it's the same bay.
Oh, right.
It's basically that whole Coldwater Classic is basically held in that bay. So they tell Mexico's, which is in the middle, and then the Bluff, which is basically where that river mouth is.
Okay.
So for Paul's benefit, the prevailing wind is between south and west, which means that beach basically gets good waves and wind conditions in that prevailing quarter between south and west. It's very good for those directions, which is our prevailing. So that's the classic beach for us.
Oh, right. So is this the best beach?
We did.
Yeah.
Sorry, go. Well, we did put in licenses and have a plan and like a wind matrix, depending on what it does. We have got the ability to move to other beaches other than the Hale, beach mouth. So we've got Marazion, which you might have heard of, which is on the right on the south, and we had a couple of other options, some which we probably won't name because we didn't necessarily have a license, but we were prepared to go to if it was if it was on. So but yeah, so basically we had a plan. If there was wind, then we have a plan as somewhere to run the competition. Whatever.
Give us a quick rundown for just because we're going to be talking about the Cornish Coldwater Classic. How are you doing this? What motivated you to do a competition? Because as Paul well knows, organizing a competition is a lot of work and sometimes a very thankless task. You have a lot of complaints because, obviously there's only usually one winner in each category. So someone's always disappointed. It's windsurfing, so it relies on the weather. Give us your thought process of how you boys came together to organize the comp and decide that was kind of a way forward.
Well, I could say that Alex and Ben both wanted to win the Masters, which was driving them.
And I won this year.
And I was just going to say, it is part of the
British Wave Sailing Association tour now. Just for for people, there'd be people around the world who don't know, but it is now part of. It was when you did it, part of the whole tour, and counts as full points towards a British title.
Yeah, and
I think we came back. Go on, Ben.
No, I was just saying, I think we went to Tyree for the first time, 4 years ago now, and absolutely loved it. I mean, we've just windsurfed by ourselves for so many years, and we went and saw the other people who do it in England and in Scotland and in Wales, and we loved it. And we went back there the following year, and on the ferry on the way back, and Joe can take up the cudgel on this, but sort of plan formed about, we feel like we should put a bit back, but it's really Joe's inspiration. So Joe, over to you.
Yeah, I guess I mean these guys started competing before I did, and then I think it was the 40th anniversary for Tyree, so we decided to all go as a four to do the 40th anniversary, which a lot of people did, and it was what a wicked week we had. Like, I know some weeks on Tyree can be quite windless, like last year, but we sailed every day, every kind of conditions, had an amazing time, and I won the amateurs, which is lovely. Which obviously tops your week off. And then we, I guess up there was Chucky, Ian Ross, who I'm sure you know, Ben, who had been running the Cornish Wave Classic for years. And we were sort of saying, look, we can't have a British tour without a Cornish round. Like for us, what we would consider the home of down the line English wave sailing. And Chucky has obviously given so much back into the BWA, but just as a place of his life where he's unable to commit. And so he sort of was like, look, if you guys want to run with it, here's some tips, here's what you have to do. And we thought that we would, decide to go for it. I mean, it helped that Willie McLean was coming in as the new BWA chairman, and he had a lot of energy. He's got two young, not that young kids now, but youths coming up through, and he really wanted to grow the BWA, and what a job he's done, because I think it's now the biggest national tour in the world. And so
it's firing, man.
He was really supportive. He was just like, look, this is what I want you to do, but I also want you to, I think he'd been a thorn in Nigel's side for many years, saying, look, this is how we're going to run Tyree. And all of a sudden now he's BWA chairman, was like, well, I kind of need to let the organizers run it how they want to run it as well. So he was like supportive, but like do what you want to do. And so yeah, I've been keeping. I'm a bit of a stat geek, so I've been keeping wave and wind stats for the last 10 plus years. And so we sort of November into February had the highest stats. November wasn't ideal because they wanted Tyree to be the last event of the year, and we didn't want to run straight on the back. So we thought, let's go for a proper hardcore event. Let's go for February. It's cold, but this is where you see the hardcore wave sailors out in February in Cornwall. So yeah, I don't know. That's how it started, and then we didn't realize how much work it would be, I guess. But it's been a lot easier the second year.
Yeah.
And one of the advantages we also have is Duncan Coombs, ex-head PWA judge, lives just outside Gwithian. He was coming up to Tyree as well, and he was like, "Look, I can help judge." Luke Reistek, who is also a main judge now, he's done some head judging for the PWA. He lives in Newquay for the winter, so again, he was like, "Yep, I can come on board." So limited expenses for both of those. Nick Baker been really helpful with support from Duotone from the start, both in terms of just cash and prizes, and like this year he turned up and was just there as a presence, which is pretty cool. So yeah, those guys have been really helpful in helping that go. And yeah, and then we just sort of ran with it, I guess. We got Mike's got a real big history in media, so I don't know if you want to talk about all the media stuff, Mike.
Yeah, well, there's not much to say really. Alfie Hart, is key to it. Who obviously does, windsurfing TV. He does an incredibly good job. I tried to film on the first event that we did when it was super windy with the pros, and that was pretty difficult with the camera I had, which had cooling system, which meant it was open at the top, so the rain went into it. So it was kind of difficult to be an organizer and film. And so this time round I didn't film, but this time round we had a lot of media left over from last year, so we were able to get the message out with little sort of trailers and sizzles and things to drive people to sign up for the competition. And I think I'm not saying it's down to that, but we were pretty good at getting sign-ups this year. I think people knew that, had an idea that it might work again. So yeah,
professional media, professional judging, and professional safety team. We were all set up, and it's all set up. Right, it's easier here than it will be for certain places, but it was nice to have all of those three tenets, so that when a competitor turns up, they know that it's going to be hardcore, but we've got their backs with the safety. We're going to cover everything with them with great media, and they're going to be judged fairly. So and Cornwall's so it's.
No, but they're the key. They are massively key, like you say. Those three things are huge in a competition. There is nothing worse than doing a competition where the judging is a little bit all over the place. No matter how good you sail, judging it's not exactly science, it's down to, but when you've got a consistent head judge who's done it for a long time and you can trust his calls, every decision is easier to take, let's say. When you've got random judging all over the place, it is difficult. And I think, like you say, media as well. Like I'm sitting in Portugal watching these videos come through because obviously Alfie's sending me the drafts and we're having a look at it. I'm so jealous because last year, the first one you did just went absolutely bonkers. And I was kind of like a bit worried this year thinking, how are they going to, live up to that first year? But absolutely delivered again. But it just shows that formula, and I've said it a long time, like how would you run a windsurfing competition if you have the choice? You would do it on a forecast. Like you don't turn up to the beach when there's no wind. Well, sometimes you do for a chat or whatever, but most of the time, if you want to go windsurfing, you want a forecast really, especially wave sailing. So I think you boys nailed it. Like I said, I can safely say I felt like I really missed out. I was watching it going, oh my God.
One of the things that we were keen to do, which the rest of the British Tour didn't. So the rest of the British Tour they did pros on a Friday. Because, in the old days they were pro athletes and didn't have a day job. And then you do AMs and Masters and Youth and all the other fleets on Saturday and Sunday because it's the weekend. And Tyree obviously shows you where, you know, you can get a load of windsurfers on the you know, on a holiday for 7 days. Obviously you're gonna get some results. Basically, it's gonna be pretty hard not to. And we just thought, well, because we have to stick to the weekend format, we said last year and this year, there were 2 things that we said that we wanted to do. Was one, we wanted to run all fleets on all days. So, you know, and this year you know, it was perfect because we ran everything except the pros on the Friday, because the conditions were going to be better and much more technical, because it was cross off, light winds at the beginning of the day, really quite technical sailing. So we wouldn't have really been able to run the other fleets on the other day, and obviously we needed longer heat times as well. So, you know, but what we've said was we would prefer to do, but we're not getting any sort of comfort from the competitors that they'd like this to happen. Is our preference is to set a 10-day window, and obviously then do it on the forecast within the 10-day window within February. So next year, what we're thinking of doing is, because we've got rollover weekends, so we've got one weekend, so we've technically 6 days. Everyone's blocking out 6 days in their diary, because if they enter, they obviously, if we roll it over, they have to, you know, they're going to lose their money if they can't do one weekend or the other. We try and be as fair as possible to everyone, if that is possible. And if with this year, you know, someone could do the first weekend and not do the other, so we sort of twin them together, you know, and it worked, but it was 1 or 2. But what we want to do for next year, if possible, and Joe suggested this, was to run the, you know, we could take 1 day out the first weekend. Obviously not for all fleets, but we could say it's looking pretty, you know, cross-on-ish, you know, so we're going to run the Masters and the AMs and everything on the first weekend, but we've only got 1 day window, and it's looking better, so we're going to delay the pros for the next weekend. So we're looking at the possibility of split weekending it with the fleets, just to give us more flexibility with the improbable part, the bit that we can't control, which is the wind and the waves. So, you know, the longer window you've got, you're effectively trying to go on the forecast kind of thing, which is obviously what we're trying to do. So
I was
sorry, and just to put this into perspective as well. So one of the other key things that when we got together we wanted to do was, again, the British Wave Tour was working off single and double elimination, which they would concentrate on the pro fleets getting a single and double in, and the other fleets really, you know, single if you're lucky kind of guys. And the first time Ben and I competed, and I was heated up against, can't remember his name now, but he used to be a pro windsurfer, and there was only 2 people in the heat, me and him, and only 1 person going through. So I had a 10-minute heat, and then I didn't get sail again. You know, literally first heat out, I was out, and I was like, well, that's, you know, very disappointing. And so we wanted to get a Dingle format in, which is a lot more heats. So you need quite a long window for that. And, you know, we did 10, and obviously we don't really want to go down to 8-minute heats, because it's hard enough doing 2 waves and a jump in 10 minutes. You know, it's really tricky. But again, especially if you're not if you're new to competition, you know, get those 3 things in is quite difficult. If you've done 3 or 4 competitions, you realize that you just got to hit what you can do rather than going for it, and get those 3 things in the bag and go forward. But not a lot of people have got that coaching knowledge. So the Dingle format and this spread of the forecast is really where we're aimed at.
For people who don't know, because maybe there's people who don't know, a Dingle format is basically, if you think of tennis where everyone starts at the bottom and they go all the way to a final, it's like that, but then you get these second chances. So the losers, or the second place people or the third place people, get to go against the other third place or fourth place people in the other heats. So then you find your level a way more easier without, like you say, you get, and it's really hard in the masters, amateurs, to give some correct seeding, because you could have some ex-pro, some guy who's been amazing, but he hasn't been to a competition before, so his seeding is terrible. in the pros, it doesn't really work like that because everyone's kind of roughly seeded well. But in the amateurs, especially the masters, you don't know who's going to turn up. So you could all end up in one heat, maybe the top 3 guys. And if you don't have this second chance, you could be losing potentially the second best person in the competition in the first round. And this guy's like, then probably won't ever come to a competition again. He's kind of pissed off. You think, oh, that's kind of useless. So there is a big reason for doing it.
Yeah, that's a really good thing to say. And I think the other thing is it immediately gives people more than one heat. Yeah. So everybody, if you get the conditions, everybody's guaranteed for more than one heat if you get the conditions.
Yes.
And as we found from this competition, even with the rollover, even with having a 3-day window for all fleets, everybody turned up the following weekend. We're all windsurfers. Everybody's got it mapped out. Everybody's looking at the forecast. And, we were able to roll over and run all the fleets on the Friday and Saturday. It just shows that the appetite is there if you're able to give the flexibility.
100. I've got to say, though, what I do applaud you guys for, I don't know if it was your decision or someone else's, but I've been saying this for ages. I remember pitching this idea ages ago. It just wasn't possible. But where you ran the amateurs and stuff first, youths, amateurs, and then you had the top guys from the respective fleets getting promoted. So I think you did the youths first, and the top 2 youths then got into the amateurs. Yeah. And this is what you want to do. You want to give these guys, they're the keenest. They want the chance to prove themselves. So then they're in the amateurs as well. Then the top 2 from the amateurs go into the pros. Again, you don't want these guys who are good amateurs being knocked out by Horrocks or, Bubble or whoever, Andy King in the first round of the pros and getting demotivated. You want them in the amateurs making a super competitive fleet. And then you want the promotion from that amateur fleet at the same competition into the pros. And I thought I've been saying this for ages, but the problem was when we used to do it, the pros would be on the Friday. So you couldn't do it. It just wasn't possible. Yeah. And I always well, can't the pros go on the Monday or something? Because it just makes so much sense. And we saw it happened so good. The youth guys won the youths, then he won the amateurs, and then he's in the pros. And you're
he had a fantastic.
He got to several rounds as well.
It was brilliant.
And they're the ones you want to promote. You want them to get the feel of competition, and you get that by doing heats. You can't practice until you're in a heat. It's a whole different ball game.
Yeah. Just quickly,
sorry, I'm just going to just nail that. But to be fair, that was Willie McLean's idea, and he's brought that through, and he wants to bring it through to the whole PWA, and BWA that is. And we thought that was fantastic, and thought yes. And obviously the weather was good for us as well because it just was perfect because it was cross shore on Friday at the beginning of the day. So we had brilliant heats at the beginning of the day for everyone, but then it turned onshore. It was a bit shitty really, and wasn't great for the pro. Wouldn't have been a good pro day anyway. So we were quite lucky.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, isn't it? It is weather dependent, but it was fun to follow. It kind of felt like there's this, constant promotion, and you're like, oh, there's an extra reason to be there. Because if you are the top am, the question is, well, where would they be in the pros? If you're the top youth, where would they be? I also want to see the masters get in there as well because it is interesting to see that.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
What was the what was the length of time for the waiting period again? You said it was from one weekend to the next. So what is it? Is it 10 days, 11 days? What is the actual total?
So it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the next following Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Originally, and I like the Wissant Wave. Is it the Wissant Wave Classic in North France? They've got a whole winter waiting period, I think, and or the one in Holland, the Dom.
Slag on Domburg.
Slag on Domburg, yeah. That looks wicked. And that is the ultimate. What it bumps into is the economics of booking, for example, the jet ski, the safety team. Mm-hmm. They are a professional safety team. That was their job. They're doing events all the time. We needed to book them out for 6 days, which they ain't cheap. And we were doing the event basically we had 1,100 quid of donations from Duotone and Beagle Media, and the rest was all done with entry fees.
Wow.
And so, we're paying for professional media, whether that's, Windsurfing TV or, I know, hard.
Big bucks.
Or JC, we gave, we're giving these guys like loads of money, drones, lifeguards, the jet ski, and, judging. We wanted it to, Duncan should be charging us, and we wanted to pay him the proper rate. Duncan, Luke, Dan, all these guys need paying a booking, really, because you can't just go, the forecast is great in 3 weeks' time. And he's like, well, Duncan's like, I'm in Guadeloupe. All right, great. So we're going to have to head judge. So we need to book them in. And that's always the balance between having a really wide window and actually having a professional competition. So I would love to do the February half term. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I think that would be doable because it's the February half term. And we could literally pick 2 days out of it. But we would probably need a bit more money.
But there is a basic problem that the fleet will probably reduce quite significantly, and therefore our income goes down. And then we're back to this, at the heart of, it sounds very boring, but the heart of putting on a competition is trying to make the figures add up. I mean, it's very dull, but, without a drone pilot, without Alfie, without JC, no one knows about it. And that's important for the next year. We did need water safety last year on the first one we did. There were pros breaking masts, and I don't say they needed particularly rescuing, but it was good to have, to have that water safety there. And, the trouble with water safety is once you've set a precedent of paying for it, your risk assessment for the following year, again, very dull. They won't let you not have it. They'll just say, well, what's changed? So we're committed to that, and we think it's the right thing because things can go wrong quite quickly in Cornwall. But yeah, we at the heart of what we do is a very boring budget, and I think we probably owe a little bit of money. I think the four of us will probably have to put our hands in our pockets just to put this on. Am I all right saying that?
It's gonna be. We haven't got the final bill in yet, but we're not officially a not-for-profit because it requires jumping through hoops, but we're basically a not-for-profit. And so I think the budget at the moment is looking very tight. I mean, we all paid to enter our own competition to get that budget to be. I paid for Trish, my son, to do this, but so what we would like to do is probably. The ticket entry fee is what is pretty much running the competition, and we don't actually have to put it out very much. I think most people would recognise that we're putting on a high quality competition. Not taking any. It's Connor and Willie are both also doing amazing competitions in Rosenheim and Tyree. We're just trying to do something a bit different, which is slightly higher cost, and I think we're going to have to put the ticket price up a bit. We don't need to put it up a lot to cover those costs, but we shouldn't really be doing something that is costing us money.
Well, how much? How much is it now? Just out of interest.
The entry fee. So I think it was 80 for pros, 60 for AMs, 50 for students and youths. So
and 60 for masters. And what we're thinking of doing is potentially. We haven't actually discussed it, but we're potentially thinking Masters is the biggest fleet. We want to keep the Masters as an encouraged fleet because they bring their youth in, and they're a core part of windsurfing. Let's be honest, our age group. But they should really be able to afford what the pros pay, because we worked out that if we had another £10 per entrant. Across the whole lot, but if we brought the masters up to the pros level, and that would then keep the youth and the women's fleets as a discounted fleets, because we want to really encourage those fleets to come to the competition where they might be scared that they're going to go out in the first heat or whatever.
I mean, obviously we've been speaking with Paul about the Wave Rally and his communication with the local council and stuff like this. And is there any grants available for this? Because you would imagine it's such a good promotion for Cornwall and whatever. Have you gone into that? I mean, I know what Paul could say on this. So
here we go. Can't wait.
I think it's a really good point, and Tyree has been able to access funds over the years. I don't know how long they'll be able to do that because the Scottish Tourist Board is incredibly.
That's through the Scottish Tourist Board. I have looked into it through CCC, Cornwall County Council. I looked at Sport England. There's nothing particularly jumping out that's obvious.
Interesting. That's interesting.
So you've got to make it self-funding, and I'm interested in hearing the talk about how it's evolved. You know, when we started this competition, you start down that view of wanting to show off Cornwall's waves to the world and have the best people here. But you gradually realise that you're setting up something that you're really responsible for a lot of youth development, a lot of full participation, and the competition sort of morphs towards that. So the discussion about the February half term is now really geared about masters and parents being able to bring their kids. And, you know, Willie has set up, Willie's philosophy is that no competition can run without something to do with the kids. And that's amazing. I mean, the last time I saw you, Ben, was in the car park at Melkbos about 4 weeks ago. The average age in the car park was well over 50. It was pretty scary. And yet down on the beach at Gwithians, you had these amped young 15, 16, 17-year-olds piling through the AMs, getting it, you know, through the youth, into the AMs, into the pros, and then on telly, you know, and that, you know, and they're all watching it. So
it felt good. It felt good watching it, I have to say.
I thought it was fantastic. But what I'm saying is very quickly, our original motives get taken over by bigger ones. And that was what really struck out for me, is seeing Max Metcalf sending it, Alfie asking him about sending it. And you can just see the stoke on his face. And his face is going out to all those people who are looking at these social media. That's amazing. So I think that's the thing. We've got great ideas about it, and the Wisdom thing sounds amazing. But ultimately, we've through Joe's enthusiasm and Willie's support, we've created something that has been good for the youth, and I'm really proud of that. So
I've seen it with Pozo over the years, like that youth motivates youth. It's very difficult for us older people to motivate the youth. Yeah, we can give them credits, we can put them on videos and stuff, but realistically, what motivates them the most is other windsurfers. So Pozo started off with a few of the guys, and you could just see every year it was covered well. The other youth saw these guys, then they went over, and it just built and built and built. And you know, this has that same feeling. You can see those youth guys are coming through, and they will motivate their friends, and this just grows.
Can I just ask the question, because I'd love to know this, because I do hear a lot about the British Wave Sailing Association plus all these different events, but could you just very briefly explain, obviously we have a BWA, the British Wave Sailing Association, and there's three, correct me if I'm wrong, but according to this website, there's three events that encompass that tour. Is that correct, or?
That's just the next three.
Really? I see.
So that's just the start. Yeah. So basically, we've just done the Cornish Cold Classic. The Buchan Wave Classic is in the middle of the rollover. So they've just decided to roll over to the following weekend. So that their first weekend is the one that's about to start. And they are really keen for more entries. It's in, I think, basically northeast Scotland. I went up to trial some of their waves with Robin Walker in November, and was blown away by how cool the coastline, how great the sailing and the surfing is up there. So if anyone's interested in entering, I'd fully recommend. It looks like they've got a really well organized comp, and like I said, the coastline up there is amazing. So
I see.
That's the next one. And then I think the South Wales Wave Classic is basically in near the Porthcawl, which I think most of us went up last year. I went up. Alex, you go. Yeah, I think basically we all went up. And so that's kind of like a starboard tack onshore-ish sort of wave competition. And then after that, I believe it's a break for the summer, and then it's Rosniger, Tyree, and then Witterings. And they're all talking about another one as well, up in the somewhere in northeast England, Northumberland.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So obviously, so I've now highlighted put my mouse over the tour. So there's 7 events that it's listed there. So currently there's actually 7 events.
That's amazing.
Yeah, another one planned, definitely.
Yeah, well, that's really healthy. Yeah, I'm surprised. Look, it's for you guys, it's all kind of normal, but I'm sitting here in Australia, and obviously I'm not quite up to speed with what's going on over there. But it's great to see that there's so much enthusiasm to have these things happening. So good on you guys.
It's cool.
Super cool.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Willie, BWA guy.
Can I say something just about taking part? If anyone is actually sort of thinking about entering events, I personally had a long period of not windsurfing. I windsurfed a lot in the 80s, and then I worked in London for 15 years and just traveled and surfed. And then when I moved to Cornwall, I just surfed, and I didn't really start windsurfing again until about 2018, 2019. And the community aspect of windsurfing, like Joe says, compared to surfing, where everyone's can be a little bit at each other, the community part of it is amazing, which is why you have your WhatsApp groups. But then you go to a competition, particularly if you travel, and suddenly you meet windsurfers from Scotland, from North Wales, from the South Coast, from all over. And that's what's been really lovely for me, is that I've now got people who I can call and say, how's the forecast? Sort of come up. And I've got these people all around, and it's a really brilliant thing to get involved with. The competition, I've never done very well in it. I get very nervous. And I kind of, every now and then I do slightly better than I did before. It's not that important to me, but the actual going to Tyree for a week and hanging out with windsurfers and talking rubbish about downhauls and outhauls or whatever for a week is really good. I'm not allowed to at home. But yeah, so I just, if anyone's thinking about it, thinking about entering, don't worry about enjoy the heats because they're great. And, the amount of adrenaline is fantastic. But that social cohesion of a fairly small tribe of the best water sport in the world, and I've done most of them, is amazing. And I really recommend it.
Yeah, that's something that I've learnt with my journey with Wave Rally, because I've just completed the second one. I'm now into organizing the third, but it's really dawned on me that a huge chunk of the motivation for people going to events is just to connect with other windsurfers and have a social interaction. Yes, they're there to windsurf and but I'd say their number one reason for going is the social side of it. So I'm now going to be trying to put more emphasis on what I can do to improve the social side of it. Whether, like for example, on the Friday or Saturday night of the event, I might just set up a whole bunch of tables and chairs where the windsurf club is, and just have a massive feast. Just get everyone together and just get food. Food brings people together. Or, so yeah, for anyone out there that's thinking about doing a windsurf event, that's my feedback from everybody, is that they want to go to connect with other people and have a sense of, get in a sense of community and that kind of thing. So anything you can do to improve that, I find really helps drive the event and keep it going long term as well.
Yeah.
And if anybody out there is thinking that they should also give back a little bit to the sport that's basically stoked us, for me, for 40 years, they need to stand up and help people like Paul. I mean, you keep talking about I'm hoping there's a we. I'm hoping there's a group of 4 or 5 of you who are completely as interested, because this is hard work. Yeah.
No.
So you're shaking your head. And, Joe went down.
I'm a control freak.
Our strong 40-year-old went down with a bad back on day one, and fortunately there were 3 of us to run the event. So you can't do it on your own, and
you can't do it on your own.
We everybody needs to think about, if they're going to these things, in what way they can help. Whether it's sponsorship with a bit of money if they haven't got time, whether it's advice, whether it's being there and helping the likes. Otherwise, these things wouldn't happen. So I think that's really,
because we had quite a few of our masters entrants help out big time. Joe went down with a bad back and literally had to withdraw which was very difficult for us. But we had Nick Jupp and Graham Pettit and Olaf and Andy, just to name a few, that were really handy. And what we said to each other was we should actually reach out to a few people, especially in the Masters fleets, to say, look, it'd be really useful to, have you guys on the radio and just giving out some rash vest, or, doing a pasty run, or, it would just take the slight pressure off the event if you lose someone through injury, or, they get cold or something.
That's a good point, actually.
Whatever.
Yeah. This is an interesting comment here from Finn Noor, who is the organizer behind the EPWT European Pro Windsurfing Tour. That's a long one, but he brings an interesting point. From his experience, he says that in that European Pro Windsurfing Tour, most of the guys there are there for competing, whereas I said, in my experience, a lot of people want to come there for the social aspects. And I guess you guys might have something to say to this, is that I guess there is two lots of different types of windsurf events. There's the ones where winning is the main goal, and that is what it's about. And then I guess you have the windsurf events where, sure, there are some people there that want to win, but the bulk of them are just there just to be part of it, essentially. Yeah, and I think my experience is that in the past, when I was a kid watching those events from the 80s, there seemed to be a lot more events about just participation and getting involved. And then it started to go more and more pro and got more and more serious. And we sort of lost a lot of that, the fun side of it a bit or something, even though the fun still comes with it. But that's, I don't know, maybe tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that side of windsurfing needs to be encouraged a bit more too. It's not just about winning. It's because if it's all just about competing, you'll keep the sport pretty small, because there'll be a lot of people won't want to get involved because they'll find it all a bit too serious. And anyway, that's my experience with doing what I'm doing here. Anyway,
could I briefly answer that? I mean, that's why you have different fleets. The pros. Yeah. I was in the judging tent for the pro day because we were short on people. The pros take it very seriously. It's really important to them, as do the amateurs, as do the youth. There were tears from competitors because they're passionate about winning.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's just a big old social. I think you make of it what you will. But the fleets. That's why you have the fleets. The pros.
I guess as an organizer, you put on a good social, but you have professional judging, and you have a Dingle. Well, for me, I think the Dingle format is brilliant because again, it gives that time on the water for the less competitive people to get, especially when you get two heats so close together. I think because you go out, maybe have a shocker, but you've been out in the conditions, done a heat, and then usually within 20 minutes you're back out in similar conditions with the prior knowledge of that is what I need to do to put it together. So that you can do it all as an organizer. I think you can have that social side, but you have the professional judging in the great conditions for the people to turn it on when they need to. So I think you can have it all in that case.
Agreed. Yeah, I think, and like you say, different people get different things out of a competition. Some people can be fucking killer serious, but also social, which was back in the day when I was first competing. There were the two things went hand in hand. If you didn't do the one, you couldn't basically win. It just didn't happen. And then nowadays, or as I've got older and time has gone on, it definitely got a bit more segregated where the guys that want to win are not being social at all. It's almost like they're doing their own thing, and that's fine. But there was also a social side, but that definitely went downhill, and that coincided with the comps kind of going a bit down. So I looking at I think the community aspect, whether you call it a social, whether you call it whatever, just being together on the beach, even if you're super serious, there's still this community aspect of it. You're serious, but you're serious with like competitor friends. And this is also friggin' social. It's like a different sort of social, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe I wasn't 100% clear, but I guess my experience with the event is do whatever you can to foster that sense of community, because in the first event or second event, even, the last heat would happen and I had a food van that was a few hundred meters away and everyone sort of disperses and kind of walks off. and then you lose that you want the tribe to be together, so to speak, and that really gives you that sense of energy. I guess in the wave events, everyone's hanging down at the beach, right? They're all there, so they're all together a lot of the time. And I guess at nighttime, that you guys all probably go out to a local pub or something like that to get food. Is that generally how it works?
Yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, so you're doing the exact thing that needs to be done. Yeah, that's cool.
I think Tyree really, for me anyway, I've spent about 20 odd years going to Tyree over the course of it. But Tyree is one of these places which is amazing. You're on an island for a week. There's nowhere else to go. So like back in the day, I haven't been for a few years, but there was like basically one pub, which there would be something happening every night. There was nowhere else to go. So, and if there was wind, no wind, the whole community, social sailing, it was just such like that. Tyree for me was just a total different place. I used to love going up there because, it's not like you're in another place where everyone disappears. Everyone kind of is in the same kind of hangouts, which when you're near a big city, I found as I was growing up, the cool crew would be going into city, like let's say Cape Town. When I first started Cape Town, everyone was hanging out in Bloberg, and this was where all the parties were. And then everyone kind of got older, and everyone started going into the city, and then this lost its thing. I don't know, lost the thing that I liked about Cape Town. But everyone's talking about the city and this, and I'm like, that's not why I go to Cape Town. I go actually to hang out with windsurfers and to be in that whole community. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, and we were able to have a function on the Saturday night because we had the 3-day, and there were well over 100 people, and we had to leave some of the masters out at the end because they were well into it. So yeah, you're dead right, Paul. A big function, a big event for everyone that everybody goes to. We just all want to talk windsurfing.
It's difficult at Coronation, isn't it? Where there's no like hub afterwards. People, I guess everyone's a lot of people will be camping there, I suppose, but you haven't got that hub to go back to.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to sort of create. Do you cap the number of people at your event? Do you have a cap? Yep. What's that?
Yeah.
What's the number?
Well, I think we had 78 competitors, which was more than actually we kind of wanted. But we needed, when we were doing the sums at the last minute, we were like, well, we're going to have to squeeze some more people in, because it's always a balance between, we really want to give value for money for the lower end competitors. I don't want to call them, I'm not going to put, but the first timers and the lower ranked amateur riders. We wanted them to feel like they came and they got value for money. And so the more competitors you chuck in, you're just really putting yourself under stress in terms of heat length time and also format. So that's always the balance. And so, one of my solutions, our solutions, was we really wanted to run an expression session, which just didn't happen this year because, again, even if you do the Dingle format, you have say 20 minutes of competing. It might not seem like great value for 50 quid if you're a student or whatever. Although with all the other stuff we had going on, hopefully the package and the community and the free sailing with the rest of the crew feels like part of the event. But what I wanted to do was have Alfie film, say, 2 1-hour sessions where we split the entire entrance in half and just run a like wave jam and go. And Alfie and a few other cameras and the drone would just film that session, and then we would be put it up on the screen at the pub on the Saturday night, and they feel like the entrance would feel like they get another whole hour of competition, with broadcast camera, Windsurfing TV filming their, end over end killer loops or whatever it is, which would be fuel the stoke. And it didn't happen this year, but it's definitely going to be on the agenda for future years. But it's always got to, sadly, come after we've got the results. That's like I said, you can have it all, but we've got to get the result first.
I know, like Paul's going through this at the moment, but how do you generate more money? Like, have you got plans to, like, are you looking for someone to come in as like a headline sponsor or I mean, this isn't the reason for doing the podcast for anyone listening. I'm just thinking now, because I'm looking from the outside and you think there is a lot going on there. Surely that has to that has to resonate with some sponsor, like to get behind it, you know, because it doesn't need a lot, but it shouldn't be costing you guys money. You know, there has to be something extra in there, isn't it?
Well, I suppose I can talk. One of the sponsors is a company I work for, and I just went to the COO and said, "Do you want to put some money in? I'm not sure what you'll get out of it." And so they put a lump of money in, not that much, but not that little either. And what they've got out of it is, you know, some nice stuff on LinkedIn, some nice stuff through their socials, some nice stuff that they also sponsor a girls' football team, under 12 football team, as well as a company. And it's for the amount of money they're spending, they're getting quite a lot out of it. It just makes their, you know, the company look better. And you know, that's Beagle. You know, I'm very grateful for them for coming in. I'll probably ask them to double what they put in for next year. But you know, the world we live in, you get all the sort of statistics off the internet, don't you? Off your engagement and everything. So we'll see how that works. But at the moment, it seems like they're pretty happy.
Okay.
One of the problems we have is that, for example, we're really, really grateful to Nick Baker and Duotone UK for supporting it for the last 2 years. We honestly really are. One of the problems that you have when you are sponsored is they want the media, quite rightly, to be all Duotone or Duotone extremely heavy. And so when we're putting out media about the warm, you know, when we're trying to hype it up and stuff like that, it basically means we can't cover any Goya stuff or any, you know, and so it limits our media pool and our social media thing, which is basically the same for a lot of, let's say, internal windsurf sponsorship, is that it makes us beholden to a particular person. Like we said, we've pretty much done it in terms of the budget. We're going to be a little bit tight. If we put the entry fee up, we think we will cover it. It would be nice to have some cash. We're pretty busy, all four of us. Am I going to spend hours chasing sponsorship deals? Personally,
no, that's the thing.
No.
It's very true. It's very true.
You know, like we're basically, you know, it's running.
No, but I was just saying the amount of effort, and I found this when I was sponsored and I was looking for sponsors, the amount of effort to try and find a sponsor, and then the amount of money you could possibly get. You're like, Christ, I could just work. Like I could literally just work, earn more money. And I'm like, it's like, you know, unless you're lucky or unless you've got some contacts, unless, I don't know, that, you know, I really found out relatively early I'm better to work and you, like, even if I work within windsurfing, again, that's how I am where I am now. But it was just a no-brainer to me. Unless you're one of the best in the world, those sponsorship deals, and even then they're not particularly great considering how much you can earn if you actually work. But it's frustrating, I can see, for an organizer, because you think you're promoting Cornwall, like for windsurfing. You think how many competitors you've got, let's say 80. Yeah. How many now are more motivated to buy some more gear, spend some more gear? And I know the windsurfing brands are not totally flush with cash at the moment, but this event is helping the scene. And again, I have this argument for Windsurfing TV as well, so I know it well. It's like, if whatever you're doing is helping provide a healthy scene, the windsurfing brands will benefit. So they have to be also trying to reach out on your behalf to get your event sponsored. You know, maybe they don't sponsor it, but maybe they know people who could. I don't know. I think there's a better way to look at it, because I think there's nothing. When I was competing, I remember Andy Groomford, Tyree, he used to get so much shit. He'd have these big sponsors, Corona, and everyone would be moaning, oh, he's making so much money, he's doing this. I know he wasn't. And even if he was, I'm like, he should be. He should be. Like, as a competitor, I want this guy, I want you guys to be killing it. I know you probably don't care about killing it, but I want you to be killing it, because if you're killing it, you're motivated. That event's happening every year. So as a competitor, as a windsurfer, I want that to happen. I want you guys to be, because it's a lot of work. Paul knows how much work organizing a comp is. And I think sometimes the more success you get, let's say a big sponsor comes on, it actually gets harder and harder because you've got more money, but then people think, oh, they've got loads of money. So then everyone almost charges more. All the volunteers kind of go away because they're like, oh, these guys got money. So you need to actually earn even more money. Like at the moment, you guys are like putting it all in. Everyone sees that. You're going to get lots of help. And again, I've seen this over the years. Soon as there does become money in, and you boys have been putting in the years, and you kind of think it's nice to have a bit of payback, people start pointing it out. Oh, look at these guys. They're all doing It's kind of difficult. I don't envy it, but we need you guys. So you need Paul. We need guys who are organizing events. For me, it is one of the things that motivates the whole scene, whether you're actually competing or not. Me watching it motivates me. I'm like seeing these young kids come through. It just gives you that sense that shit is happening within windsurfing. And I love it. That's what feels good about it. So, you know, I know it's not easy, but good job, boys. I actually really appreciate it from over here.
Yeah. Actually, I was just going to also... Go ahead.
No, I keep over talking everyone. I said it was really fun, even though I had a bad back. But, you know, it has been. And it's the satisfaction is seeing it run well.
Yeah, no, I know that feeling. I was just going to mention something that I think you said, Joe, regarding sponsorships and, you know, having the issue where someone says, oh, you know, we want to have all the attention. I don't know if this is valuable for you. I created a sponsor pack, essentially, and I don't know if you guys have this, but say someone is mildly tempted to get involved. I literally send them this PDF document that explains the event, explains why they should get involved, that, you know, how it works when you spend X amount of dollars, what happens to that money? You know, did you get your logo on a flag? Does it go on a website? Like, spell it all out. I'll show you I just took one of the screenshots here because this helps a little bit. Where is it? Image file. So this is one of the pages. Oh, hold on. I'm just trying to load it up. Oh, here we go. This is all top secret stuff, by the way. But anyway, I don't have a lot of
not anymore.
But basically, no, this is actually page 15 of the sponsor pack. So I've gone through the whole event, like why you should get involved, and then I have here, these are the 3 different sponsor packs that you can go through. I'm aiming pretty high with this event with overall budget. You know, like the last one, at a budget of 47,000 Australian dollars, which is about
25,000.
Yeah, 25,000 pounds. So I'm kind of trying to get to a certain level. So that's why I don't have sponsor packs of $200, because I don't want to have $1,200 sponsors. It's just too much effort and time. So I have a minimum. And by doing it this way, you know, if you spell it out exactly what you get for your money, then there's no sort of trying to work out, oh, if I spend this one, I want this and want this. I said, look, this is the way it works. You spend $1,500, you get the small logo here, you get on this, you get da-da-da-da-da. And then they can just very clearly see what they're getting and whether or not they want to get involved. I mean, I'm not saying that you have to do something like this, but I've found that this is pretty valuable when it comes to really just setting a boundary and for everyone to understand where they stand in the scope of things as well. Because at the end of the day, the ones that are putting the big bucks in, obviously, are the ones that will get the most exposure and so forth as well. I have seen that with certain events here where, like, there'll be a major sponsor for an event, but when I find out how much they've actually put in, I sort of realize, well, they didn't really put in that much and they're expecting a lot, you know? So I think that there has to be a bit of a understanding from both parties that, it's, you know, how it works. So anyway, this is how I go about it. And I'm not saying you have to do it, but, you know, when you spell it out in clear English, it's also a good exercise, because when you have it spelt out in words, then you can really very clearly define what are we actually offering the sponsor. You know, it's because, you know, you can go to someone and say, hey, put some money in, and then you sort of start thinking, oh, well, what do they get for it? Whereas if I can sit down and go, okay, well, with $1,500, I can actually buy this flag, which costs $150. I can do this, I can do that. This is what I can offer, and it's all pretty clear. And the other thing I do here is, as you'll see here, actually, sorry, I'm not sure if you can see, but it's got packages available. The top line has got 1, 6, and 12. So I actually limit the packages Therefore, there's a sense of like, okay, well, there's actually only one package left, and that's it. It's gone. I don't, you don't have 1,000 sponsors, because then they get lost in the crowd, and you can create that scarcity as well. So anyway, that's just something that I've been playing with a bit here. So I'm not sure if that helps anyone out there.
Yeah, no, I did play around with that a little bit. To be honest, I didn't chase many new sponsors this year. But I was finding it really hard to set that number. You obviously got your figures there, but it's really hard. So it was almost a case of, like I said, I'm really thankful to Nick Baker. He's actually been instrumental helping it making it happen in terms of the overall package support that he put in. But But our figures that we're dealing with are significantly reduced compared to yours. Put it that way.
Yeah. But it doesn't matter. It's all the same concept, huh? Like how long's a piece of string? But I mean, the
other thing that would be really useful is, with the whole scene developing, is that a sponsor comes into the BWA and actually releases a little bit of money to each of the competitions, so that they don't have to do that. They can concentrate on running a good competition. So if we continue to grow this, and Ross Niger does, and the other ones don't, and it continues to get bigger, then maybe there's an overall package which allows the event organizers to do what they do best. But, that's a hope, but, why not?
That'd be so much easier from an organizer's point of view, because they can just run that. They've got a social media team, but, I'm the social media manager for us, and I hate social media, to be honest. So, it would be nice if we could hand over that side of it to BWA, because although they already provide a lot, we really have to sort of sort out the venues and the judges and the safety and whatever, and they turn up with the judging trailer, the judge sheets, the radios, the traffic lights, all that sort of stuff. So if you are thinking about an organizing event, then the BWA Willie at the BWA on that website, he can help talk you through it and walk you through it. It's not
And if anyone does, then the risk assessments and all that, you've just got to reach out to someone else who's run an event, and then get copies of the stuff so you can plagiarize it all through and just adapt it to yours. For us, Willie does all the all the bookings come through the BWA site, so we don't have to touch any of the money or set up Ticketmaster or anything like that. So again, thank goodness, that would be a real headache to deal with. And obviously, if it's cancelled, then the refunds, Willie would have to do all that as well. So, we could not run it without Willie McLean. There's no way.
Yeah, and look, as we're talking, sorry, you can't actually see this because it's for some reason. Yeah, so down here, you see they've got the sponsor pack.
Yeah.
And I've actually just clicked on it, and it's opened up in my window, but it's not showing. But you guys actually have a sponsor.
Yeah, we have got that. Yeah. Mike helped produce that actually.
Right. So you've actually got exactly what I've got essentially. Like I'm actually just going through it. It's a very good document.
We didn't have the numbers. So. I don't think we had the numbers on it. I don't think we.
No, it does. It's got numbers.
Oh, did it? Right.
It's got sponsor packs. It's tricky, isn't it? The sponsor.
Is that the Cornish one or the BWA?
BWA.
It's BWA.
The whole BWA, but it's cool. It's actually done well. So it's unfortunately I can't share it. What was I going to say? Yeah, one thing, and maybe you guys will appreciate this, but one thing I found interesting is that you do an event and you raise the necessary funds. I mean, the entry fees are one thing because you hope that people come back, but when it comes to sponsorships or whatever, the event's done, and then you start organizing the next one, and then you're back to square zero again. You're making the phone calls. You're speaking to the sponsors. Say, all right, well, this just happened. So do you want to get involved again? That is one thing that I'm learning is a bit of work. It's not like that when a sponsor comes on and they've locked in for 10 years and they're going to give you X amount of dollars for 10 years. Usually it's just for a 1 year thing. It would be great if locked in for free. Yeah. So there's a lot of relationship building, isn't there? Like going on. That's a huge part of the job, which I probably underestimated when I was doing this as well.
Yeah, like last year we had fantastic sponsorship from Finisterre for prizes, no money, and they really reined back this year, and fingers crossed they keep at that level next year as well. It's a community thing for them, and with 78 competitors and families coming, the amount of prizes, they might be comfortable going forwards, but they were super supportive last year. So we lost a few sort of headline prizes. We don't do cash prizes either because obviously our budget is tiny, and then we had another sponsor come in last year, which was a sort of charitable thing, which helped for the youth and the kids, which actually went to the BWA to help them do it, which sort of helped us. But then with Beagle coming through, but you're absolutely right. You've got to be on the sponsors, and it's interesting because we didn't really know where our sponsorship was, apart from Beagle. We didn't know where it was until about 3 days before the competition started. We didn't know what prizes we had to give out. We didn't know whether Nick had sort of committed, but even on the last day, because they don't give it to you, they don't give you the money up. They don't. It's they're tight too. And
if we're honest, it was an hour before the prize giving. We were running around like mad, going, "What the hell are we gonna do?" I was like trying to speak to Nick, get hold of him. But
Joe was not on site,
and great.
So he went back, so at least he could be in one place, on the phone, and So it might have looked smooth a little bit, that prize giving at the end, but it was quite chaotic.
Joe, we've
good chaos.
Joe, we've talked a lot about sponsors. Do you just want to give us the definitive list? I think we should mention every single one of them.
So obviously Nick Baker, Duotone were brilliant. Beagle Media came in as a cash sponsor. Blunt Rock Brewery gave us loads of beer packs. That's actually Alex. Alex is secretly a beer magnate around here, so it's kind of his businesses. And then Graham Ezzy was really kind in handing out actually quite a large value of his online windsurfing courses. So he's got a platform, windsurfingmasterclass.com, where he's got online courses for forward looping, backward looping, shove it, tacking, mindset. And he basically was gave me a free hand and just said, look, give out whatever you want to whoever you want, just if you're short of prizes. And so on that last minute, I was just like, okay. But they're really cool, and actually the people have already signed up to them and have been in touch saying how pleased they are with them, and then finished there. So
but also
couldn't do it without all that support.
And having given the prizes out, so a lot of the online courses were given to AMS and youth and ladies, women, and so the ladies all got a forward loop course, and they were super chuffed with that. As a winning prize, they were like, oh wow, I'm really excited to try and do that. But obviously, you don't want to give a pro a forward loop course. They know what they're doing. So that worked really well. The only other sponsor, inverted commas, we hosted the event at Mexico's at that spot. There's a holiday park which had been sort of shut. It's closed gate kind of holiday park with chalets and stuff, and you could only get in there if you were part of, if you were booked in. Anyway, they opened up for us and allowed us to run the competition from there, and they had a bar and a restaurant, which is where we had the socials and everything. And they gave us a real good event hosting, and quite a few people stayed over there in the chalets. So St Ives Bay Beach Park were sort of, I would say sponsors as well. They didn't give us any prizes or cash, but they definitely let us use their facilities, which was amazing.
Yeah, good job. Good job.
Yeah,
good job.
And you guys,
Paul, it sounds like you need a team of 4 to help you next year with the wave.
If you fly us out, we'll come out and help you run the competition.
I couldn't afford.
I'll tell you what.
The problem, what I find is that most of the stuff I can do by myself, actually, just because I do have a lot of time on my hands, so I can dedicate a lot of time to this. It's more just the actual when the event's happening and getting that side of it done, where up until now it's been largely all volunteers that help me, but I probably just need to make a couple of paid positions for a few important jobs just to make sure that it's done professionally. And look, I'm not talking about big numbers here, but just they're almost token gestures for a few people, because there are people that are very enthusiastic to help, but sometimes their enthusiasm and their skill set is not really matching the task at hand as well. So especially when it comes to
be careful of getting Joe, but be careful of getting Joe along. He does attract those fishy things in the water.
Hey, I saw that video. Earlier. Wow. For anyone who doesn't know, you won't know, there's a video of Joe going out in Margaret River and there's a shark on the inside.
I know.
But
in the keyhole, basically.
Well, but Joe, was that
the day after?
Was that?
We saw loads of sharks this time. Yeah, it was over. It's just before the Wave Classic, and yeah, I saw the shark, but my missus dropped me off to go and then went into town. And I was like, well, I've only got 2 hours of windsurf. And everyone got out because this shark, and I was like, well, I've only got 2 hours. I've got to just windsurf past it because I've got to get on. And I had a great session, and then came back in, and then the next day I went out, got dropped off like 2 hours, and I've literally caught 2 waves and destroyed all of my gear.
Yeah.
And was just out there floating around trying to package it all on, and I was being drifted down, so I missed the keyhole as I was paddling for that like point past the river mouth, which is quite a long way from everyone, and a bloody great bull shark surfaces in front of me, and I'm like quite a long way out to sea because you're like getting directly from the reef to that point, and there's no one. I knew there's no one watching me. I was like, I don't want to die. So I kind of just paddled like my life depended on it, and he then circled around me and came up again in front of me, and I was like, oh shit, this is it. So I was like paddling like this. Yeah, it's horrible. Like,
that's terrifying.
How do you know it was a bull shark?
The tail, it was bigger. It's bloody close. Like it was, less than 20 meters away, and the tail had that like pointy thing on. So I guess it looked like
shit. They're the worst ones, aren't they? So, they're like the ones.
Oh yeah. Kind of... They just bite you for fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, then horrible. I paddled in at that massive shore break and just grenaded the rest of my gear and just dragged myself up on the sand. It's like,
fucking hell. I know that beach break is really savage. I know like one of the guys nearly drowned there once. Like they said they give up. They were getting pushed in and then dragged out, pushed in, dragged out, pushed in. And they said they just went, I've had enough, can't do it. And then they got washed in. The next wave washed them in.
Oh, wow.
I was like, oh my.
All I salvaged was my board and my extension and one mast piece. So I lost my sail, I lost one mast piece, and I lost a boom. I just couldn't. It's out there in Western Australia somewhere.
Right.
But at least I've got my legs and my arms.
Yeah. I definitely trade that for arms and legs.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Thing is, Joe, having made a few shark documentaries over the years, they tend to bite and find out how much fat content there is in their prey. And then they take a decision about whether it's worth actually going for it or not. And I don't think you got enough fat.
Yeah, I wasn't willing to test that phenomenon. I was just going to...
Yeah, the only problem is when they take that bite, you're missing a leg by that point. So
yeah.
I know. But do you guys find once the event's over, like because there's 4 of you, I'm just trying to imagine what that's like. But is it a relatively easy process doing the event? Well, by the end of it, you're feeling relatively relaxed, or because when I finish it, I'm feeling like just spent. What's the experience for you guys like when you finish an event? Are you?
Yeah, we were absolutely exhausted, and I think 2 or 3 days to recover, and then we debriefed over a few beers. So, absolutely, we were exhausted on the day we left. The surprising thing is the amount of emotion. The physical side is thing that you've got a lot of people who it might be pro and it might be fun, but there's a lot of people who they get quite emotional, and you've put the event on, and Ben's seen this over the years, and you've got to look after them, and that was the surprising thing for me. That's what comes with the territory. I think that's just you organise events like this, and people they're gonna get quite emotional. It means a lot to people, as rightly so, and it's just part of what we organise. So I found that bit the bit that tired me the most, actually.
So when you say people are getting emotional, you're talking about people that may have not got the result they wanted, or
a combination of things. You organise it the best you can, and you know, there might be a judging thing. You know, that's subjective. There might be that someone didn't know about something when everybody else did, a communication error. It might be they just got unlucky with the wind dropped, and they just shout in front of you or cry. So it could be any of those things. You know, it's. But when you organise the event, you take on board the responsibility of hearing that out. So yeah.
I have been involved in a few wave events, and there's always some controversy that happens throughout an event somewhere. Yeah. Sorry, Mike.
I know we're sort of, you know, painting a very rosy picture here, but we did get a few things wrong as well, which we'll fix for next year. And that was about having enough people, having the comms. You know, we had big spring tides, so the distance from low tide to where the board was with all the information and the vest was a long way for competitors. So yeah, we made some mistakes. It wasn't, which we'll
but I think it's important that the competitors almost educate themselves as well, because I think some people think just from their own point of view that everything should be perfect, and they're like, it's just not realistic. Like, I know from doing 20 odd years of competition, I'm pretty level-headed on that sort of thing. And you get emotional at some points because, you know, you just lost or something's gone against you, but you've got to be able to reset as a competitor pretty quickly and apologize or something. Because some things you say in the heat of the moment, you don't mean it. But I think a lot of the time the competitors need to be very like, this is not the Premier League. This is not, you know, Formula One. This is a windsurfing competition relying on conditions which are totally out of everyone's control, underfunded, understaffed, trying to make something happen. And if everyone understands that, everything can be a lot better, because it isn't easy. It's like there's so many things going on. It's crazy what some people's expectations are. I find it quite crazy.
That's actually it's interesting listening to you guys, and also some of the wave events I've been involved in, just flying a drone and stuff. But I guess one of the fortunate things about the wave rally event I run is it's not a wave event, it's a race, so I don't have to worry about judging. You know, it's just first across the line or second or third, you know, so that aspect I don't have to deal with as much. Of course, people will get fired up if they catapulted and came last or something like that, but that is one nice thing about the racing thing. You don't need a judge to tell you who came first across the line. You know, that aspect's been good for me, thank God, because the judging, actually I found in wave events is the judging is probably that's the part where things,
isn't it? That's the thing.
It's tricky, isn't it? Yeah. But it also adds to the drama. Like Ben and I have talked a lot about this, where you know, people want to eliminate all drama. Like, you know, for example, at Wave Rally, you had the run finish, and you know, a minority of people complained, "Oh, what is this? A windsurf event or a running race?" You know, or whatever. But the thing is, those elements added to the whole drama of the thing, and judging is your element of drama, because there's an uncertainty there. Oh, will someone get a little bit ripped off or something like that? But there's excitement in that as well, isn't it? You know, it's the unpredictability of it. Sometimes the result goes your way and sometimes it doesn't, and that's life as well. It's just a metaphor for life.
And sometimes like you sail a really bad heat and you win it and you think, well, how did that happen? So you know, that jeopardy comes out a lot. Actually, Sam Wade was sort of saying that, and you know, in a couple of his heats he was surprised that he'd won them because he'd sailed badly. But you just then have to reflect on it and you think, well, of course I was sailing badly because the conditions were bad, and therefore obviously affects everybody, doesn't it? So everyone comes off the water a bit down. But
that's the big lesson in competing, is just not losing it, because if you're having a bad heat, there's a very good chance the other person is having a bad heat, because there's probably a reason you're having a bad heat. And sometimes there's nothing worse than looking at the judging sheets at the end of a heat and thinking, oh my God, if I'd have just done that turn, or if I'd have just done a little jump on the end, and you think, so you just got to sail it till the end, no regrets, come in and go, okay, I did everything I could, because then you can literally walk away and go, I did everything I could. Okay, I didn't sail well, but I did everything I could. If you give up slightly, there is sometimes I've done it when in my early days where I look at the sheet, I'm like, I cannot believe it was so close. I thought I was, I thought I got smashed, and it's like, it's nothing. So yeah, interesting.
It sounds like to me, after looking at the website of the BWA and the amazing amount of comps there, that there really needs to be a push to have an overall, corporate sponsor there. That's you can say every time there's a video, your logo's on there and so forth. There must be an opportunity there, surely, because that's a pretty well organized association. Huh? It's probably the best one I've seen.
I mean, the mailing room was doing quite a lot for a good amount of years. I think they're still doing something with the youths. Again, I can't speak for everything, but I know George, who he's windsurfer from Ross Niger, where I used to sail. He was really, really on it. And again, I think that funding now has gone definitely more towards the youth. It always has been the youth. It was always about the future pros and the youth. But I think there was quite a chunk for the main tour as well. I don't know how that affects it now.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it happens. Do you guys find that how are you feeling your what's the word, like sustainability to keep going and keep organizing events? Are you, because that's one thing, I mean, Ben's told me about it. He's been in the scene longer than I have behind the scenes, but you see events and you see him come and you see him go, huh? Because there's people behind the scenes, they put a good 2, 3, 4, 5 years into it, and then they're burnt out and they're like, all right, I've done my dash, and then an event falls over. How are you feeling running this, like the Cornish Cold Water? Is it feeling quite sustainable for you? Because that I think for event organizers out there, it's a really important element. Like we obviously as windsurfers, we want to see these things go on. We don't want to see them fall over. Yeah. Is that a? You're not quite. Yeah.
I think we all compete, or we all want to compete, and so it's more of a fun thing when you compete because you're actually in your own event, because it's putting something on to do. We do think we should probably bring in. I think it's about spreading that load and having almost like a conveyor belt of people getting involved. So, which would be our advice to you with your event, is that you've got to get more people on board with you. We would like to. There is a student windsurfing association, which again was massive, and I think it's gone down. It's now maybe coming back up. But we have got a few people in the sort of Cornwall area who are keen student windsurfers that we were saying we should really get them on board next year, to sort of bring them on board, to show them how we organise this one, to help them then organise better student events, and also then we can then tap into that. So I don't know if you're listening, Georgia, but we're going to be in touch to help bring her in and maybe get some more youth on board to have that conveyor belt and continuity of organisers.
Well, actually, you just brought up a really good point, Joe, because we talk about developing youth in windsurfing, but we're not really talking about developing youth in organising events. It's without events, a big chunk of windsurfing disappears from. It's a huge part of windsurfing. So it's a really good point, actually. Yeah, I do actually. There's a couple of kids that help out with the Wave Rally event, and they've been amazing. Like this young kid, a drone pilot, and he's like my right hand man. If I say, "Oh, dude, do you mind just running off and grabbing me my lunch?" and he just runs off and does it. But so he watches what's going on. But that's really important. It's really important because people will come and go. So you need to think of succession plans and that sort of thing as well. Yeah. No.
Boys, I don't know what your timing's like, but it's windy here, so the trees again moving. I've just seen this. Is this Andy King? I can't remember.
Yes,
that's Andy. Yeah.
The winner.
Andy actually won the pros, which is pretty cool because he has been missing after winning Cornwall. I think that was the first win he's had in Cornwall, and he is one of the best free sailers.
And it wasn't jumping. It wasn't jumping. He's not missed a jump.
I think he did a jump, didn't he? I saw some video.
He did all the time. The only reason he didn't jump in the final, he said, because he likes on his way out, if it's a really steep wave, he prefers to jump because he knows he can land it. Whereas if he tries to just go over, he sometimes falls off. So he prefers to jump around. But he slightly broke his boom free sailing in between because he was in the losers final, and then there was a ladies, the women's was in the mid. So he just carried on sailing like Andy King does. I don't know how he does because he's nearly 50.
He gets the most hours, doesn't he, on the water?
He slightly broke his boom, so he felt it go on the way out to port tack side, and it's wave riding only. He thought, well, I haven't got time to change it, so he thought, well, it'll hold up for the wave riding and the aerials. So he said that's the only reason he didn't jump in the final, because he had slightly cracked his boom on the way out.
Maybe that's why he won.
Yeah.
No, but well done, Mr. King.
And just finally, sorry, go on.
No, just one last takeaway, really, which is I think this sport's in a good place, and you can have kiting and winging and youth dropping off, but you come to our competition, and I really felt coming out that weekend that if windsurfing's been going down, it's not going down anymore. It's coming back up. It might not come up to be a huge sport, but it's going to be a solid niche sport. That's a really big takeaway from our event. I don't know if the others all agree, but that was definitely for me.
I will say, just from my view from around the world, what you see is you guys, and I say this to Paul as well, you guys who are creating a scene are the guys that are doing this. Like, there's a few countries out there where maybe they had it easy and they're still kind of like moaning about things because it isn't as easy as it was. But the guys I see putting in the effort, the guys I see like doing something, those scenes are thriving. Like you go to Sweden, they've got a big windsurfing shop there, and the scene, like the way the guy has done it, it's pumping. There's lots of people buying gear, there's people on the water, there's a social aspect, there's everything. And I think you can see it all around the world, but it does take the guys like you, like Willie's doing the tour, there's lots of other people, WhatsApp group leaders, as I call them. These are the guys that push. Like, if we don't have the main guy in our WhatsApp group here, maybe someone else takes over, but you need those enthusiastic ones that drag a few people. Everyone's keen, but there is always someone who is kind of pulling it together. And I think this is, I think we are seeing a bit of a change, and these little mini scenes all over the place are getting stronger. And I think they will do, because it's such an amazing sport. I'm obviously biased, but for 100%, like Joe was saying right back at the beginning, you go surfing, and you realize how much time am I actually getting surfing? I had a guy met the other day here, and he started windsurfing or winging or whatever it was, because he was coming to the beach to go surfing. He was seeing everyone going, what am I doing? I'm just spending the whole time paddling around. These guys are constantly going for 2 hours, and they pack up and go home. Anyway.
I actually, a funny little story with that. You guys probably know Nalu, right? It's a good spot up here in WA, but it's in winter time, incredibly popular with surfers, and there'll be 70 guys sitting in the lineup there. And I was there around September last year, where the changeover period goes from surfers to windsurfers. And I was sitting in the car park looking at around 70 surfers in the lineup, and this guy came in, probably in his 40s, 50s, and he didn't look happy at all. And I said, "Oh, mate, how'd you go out there?" He goes, "Oh, it's just shit house. Like, I couldn't get a wave." And I was like, "Oh, okay." He said, "Yeah, there's too many people out there. I can't get a wave." He basically said to me, "I get 1 week a year that I'm allowed for my wife or whatever to come up here, and I go for a surf, and I can't even get a wave." Imagine how frustrating that for that poor bugger. He's just.
Did you tell him price of the surfer?
Then what happened was, then the wind came up, and my mate Sam and I went out there. I think there was just two of us, and we probably got about 20 waves in the first hour. Oh man, it's just, I know. But the problem is that they don't. It's hard for them now. But that's one of the beauties of windsurfing. And the other thing I will just add to what Ben said then too is, and I'm sure you guys have noticed this, but one of the nice benefits of organizing an event is when people see that you're putting energy into it, that inspires them to try to support you somehow. I'm sure you guys have seen that. Right? Like when you organize an event, and there'll be certain people out there that are like, "Good on you, Mike. Good on you, Ben, Alex, Joe. Thanks for doing this." And they just want to support you by entering the event or just doing something.
Yeah.
So it's just giving people an opportunity to support something. Or,
And that's true.
Yeah. And they want to support windsurfing, but I think often people don't know how to support it. because they kind of like, well, how do I support windsurfing? But by doing an event, that's an obvious way that they can get involved. So I don't want it too popular. I don't think we have to worry about.
If it gets too popular, we'll shut it down.
But that is the good thing with windsurfing. Like you say before, surfing, the WhatsApp groups are very, very quiet and small because, you know, it's like rent a crowd. You don't really want to tell too many people when you're surfing. But when you're windsurfing, it's like, come on, let's go. It's a totally different attitude.
You want to share the soak a little bit, don't you, when you're out? It's nice to see a few people out.
It's the most fun thing about windsurfing. Like, if you give me the ideal conditions on my own or average to okay conditions with a load of mates, I'm taking that any day. Well, depends how long it's been since I've had a good session. But you know, like on your own is definitely not as you know, like a couple of you is obviously dreamy, but I would rather take it busy than empty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Fair. Same.
Surfing, it's a bit different. I quite happily go on my own.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Well, thank you very much for joining, and good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I feel like we may have only just scratched the surface with everything that's involved in running an event. I know what it's like, but thanks so much for coming onto the podcast and sharing experience. Awesome. Thanks a lot.
No worries.
Yeah, I'll see you in January, Paul. I'll send you a ticket.
You're going to come over? That'd be awesome. We get a few people
he attracts the sharks. Don't bring him.
Yeah. That's all right. Adds a bit of drama to the event. It's good. We need it. No, anyone's welcome. But All right. Thanks, guys.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Bye.
Time of the week again. Sit back, relax, we got the brain of band. No need to stress in the house, it's Van Bellen. The game is windsurfing, you can't yell them or tell them. We get the news, the views, the win biz, the brands, gear tips, plus the world's best quiz. Cogs, PWA, we're professionals without the pay. There's nothing in pole dancing that we won't chat. From tandem boards to a windsurfing cat, it's your one-stop shop for a laugh and listen. Tune in each week or you'll be doing the missing.